All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video, as tonight is day 2 or night 2 of the NFL draft. Who should the Niners take at 43, 75, and 100? They have 3 picks on day 2. We will hit that next. First, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week, from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you by LearnKey. That's right. Great news for the Krug Show subscribers. Our sponsor, LearnKey Upskill Academy, is offering a free cybersecurity course valued at $99. That's right. The course is titled Protecting Yourself and Your Organization. It's just 1 hour long and will give you essential tips to keep you and your company safe online. It's a limited time offer, so don't miss out. Click the link in the description of this video to claim your free course and start learning today at upskill.learnkey.com. All right, the 49ers took Mikael Williams on day 1 of the NFL draft, and Friday night is day 2, night number 2 of the NFL draft. Niners have a bunch of needs. They also have 3 picks. They pick 43rd, I think 7th in round 2. They also pick 75 and 100 in round 3. So they have 3 picks on Friday night. And what should they do with their picks? Well, as far as, the defense was concerned, first they started with the defensive line. John Lynch already referenced that the defensive line is the priority. And they'll probably draft more defensive linemen. Now, the question is, do they come back with another edge rusher? Abdul Carter, Mikael Williams, Shamar Stewart, James Pierce, these guys came off the board. But there's still some good edge rushers there. Mike Green, Donovan Ezeraku, Landon Jackson are all there. And Mikael Williams is the kind of guy that could play inside in some pass rushing downs. So would the Niners go another edge in Ezeraku or Green, smaller guys who are maybe more situational edge rushers? That's going to be something to look for. Now, if they go defensive line, to me, there's a couple different options. If you want to go like interior nose guard type, tackle, CJ West from Indiana, Jordan Phillips from Maryland. I think those are the 2 guys that I would be interested in on day 2 is West and Phillips of those 1 technique guys. Now, of the 3 technique guys, Mason Graham, Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan, they all went on day 1. So now you're looking at Darius Alexander, TJ Sanders, Shamar Turner. But I like that next group that has Joshua Farmer, Omar Norman Lott, and Ty Robinson. And though I'd try to get one of those 3 guys on day 3 or day 2. So if I could get Omar Norman Lott or Joshua Farmer with that first pick of the 3rd round, I'd love it. That would be great. The other guys, there's 2 other defensive linemen that I really, really like that I think also would get consideration here. Aeneas Peebles, 6 feet, 290, great pass rusher, started at Duke, transferred to Va Tech. Love Aeneas Peebles, and I really love his pass rush ability from any spot on the defensive line. Another guy that I thought was really awesome at the Senior Bowl was Savion Jones from LSU. Now he's a 6'5", 290-pound edge rusher. But the Niners, if they want to go with the big defensive line, maybe a guy like this could be an inside player. I thought he totally dominated as an interior rusher in Mobile, and he just looks like a difference maker. I mean, he's way, way, way too quick for guards at 6'5", 290. So yeah, Elijah Roberts, Savion Jones, Aeneas Peebles, they're all really, 290-pound rushers who can rush from a number of different spots. So I'd be interested in Savion Jones, Elijah Roberts, Aeneas Peebles. The 3 techniques, maybe give me Darius Alexander, Joshua Farmer, Omar Norman Lott, Ty Robinson. And if you're going for the interior guys, like CJ West, Jordan Phillips, Jamare Caldwell, all really interesting names. All right, another spot where the Niners could go in day 2 is corner. There's a lot of talk that the 49ers may trade for a veteran corner. They may trade for a Jalen Ramsey or somebody like that on day 3 of the draft. So there's always that angle. But if they went into the draft for a corner, Hunter's gone, Jedi Barron's gone, but Will Johnson's still there. Shavon Revel Jr. from East Carolina, who's a tremendous corner with size and length coming off an ACL. He's there. Trey Amos, big, dominant corner with swagger. Really like the confidence of Amos. He's there. If you said to me, give me a guy that you think might be a fit for the Niners, Benjamin Morrison in round 2 from Notre Dame, I think would be very popular. He's a great player who probably would have gone in the first round if he hadn't had injuries this year. So I would say Benjamin Morrison might not be a bad call in round 2. If you're going in round 3, how about Noel Williams from Cal? That would be a nice little get. If you're going safety, Nick Emanwari is just the most dominant physical presence there is in the secondary. Huge, big, fast, 6'3", 220, 4.3 speed, 43-inch vertical. I mean, he's a crazy athlete. And then there's Xavier Watts, who's got crazy ball skills. He's not the athlete that Emanwari is. Emanwari's 6'3", 220 and fast. Xavier Watts is 6 feet, 204, but he's got great ball skills. There's also Andrew Makuba, who might not be a bad option on day 3 or in round 3 at safety. Makuba's a good player. They could go linebacker. Some people suggest Carson Schlesinger or Demetrius Knight could be their pick. And those are interesting names for sure. There's also Chris Paul from Ole Miss, Barrett Carter from Clemson. There's some interesting linebackers for sure. So do you go D-line? Do you go secondary? Do you go defense? What about offensive tackle? Membu, Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks, Josh Simmons, Josh Connerly all went on day 1. So you had 5 tackles going in the first round of the draft. I didn't even care because outside of Membu, I thought Ariante Ursary and Anthony Belton, I think are better tackle prospects than Banks and Campbell and Connerly. And I really like Ursary, 6'6", 340, great foot speed. Belton played in this exact scheme that the Niners run at NC State. He's 6'3", about 340, or 6'6", about 340. Either one of those tackles would be fantastic. I prefer Belton, but I could be cool with Ursary, and either one of them I think would be really good gets on day 2. So do you go offensive tackle? Do you go defensive end? Do you go defensive tackle? Do you go linebacker? Do you go corner? Do you go safety? And then, you look at, some of the other spot positions. I mean, running back, you don't have JP Mason, and you got a bunch of, you use a lot of running backs every year. And running back wise, this is an incredible running back draft. Now, Ashton Genty and Amarion Hampton went in round 1, but Travion Henderson is a game breaker. He's got speed to get to the edge. He can block. He can catch. I think he'd be very popular with Bobby T. Quinshon Judkins is one of my favorite players. He finishes runs at 225 pounds, and he runs 4.4. I love Dylan Sampson. The production that he had this year at Tennessee was off the charts. One of my favorite running backs in the draft is R.J. Harvey, who ran 4.4 flat out of Central Florida, 5'8", 210, really hard to tackle. DJ Giddens is a hell of a back. Devin Neal's a hell of a back. Damian Martinez. Brashard Smith is a dangerous weapon. Kyle Monangai, Raheem Sanders, LaQuint Allen. Taj Brooks, Mario Anderson, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Marcus Yarns, Corey Kiner, Montrell Johnson. This is an awesome running back draft. It really is. And there's guys up and down the list that are really, really good. To me, the 2 top guys on my list would be R.J. Harvey and Travion Henderson. As far as if you're looking for guys who block exceptionally well, Travion Henderson and Taj Brooks would fit. So do they go running back? I definitely think they could go running back. And then the wild card factor, I think, is wide receiver, because you're not going to have, you no longer have Debo, and Ayuk's probably going to be gone for at least the first couple months. And you're going to be staring in round 2 at a board that looks pretty good. Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Tez Johnson, Kyle Williams, Jack Betch, Savion Williams, Jalen Royals. I hope the Niners steer clear of Alec Manor from Stanford because he has a full blown out knee. There's all kinds of interesting receivers. Isaac Tesla, Isaiah Bond, Ty Felton is a hell of a player from Maryland, runs in the 4.3. Samuel Brown's a good player. Keandre Lambert-Smith from Auburn's a good player. Ricky White from UNLV. Juice Wells and Jordan Watkins from Ole Miss. Efton Chisholm III from Eastern Washington. Daquan Felton from Va-Tech. Andrew Armstrong from Arkansas. There's a lot of really interesting receivers. So do you go receiver? I mean, that's the other one. You might be staring at Luther Burden or Jalen Knoll. And to me, I think that's where I'm going. If you said, to me, I think Jalen Knoll and Luther Burden are just a little bit more intriguing than the other positions. So I would probably go wide receiver, but I may go running back. And even though the Niners have needs on the offensive line and needs on the defensive line, I think that the second round pick might be the primo spot to get that dynamic weapon who could be one of your best offensive weapons going forward. So yeah, they get to 43 and Luther Burden's on the board. Jalen Knoll's on the board. Jalen Knoll ran 4.39 and had a bunch of reps at 225. I think he had 23 reps at 225 on a 5'9", 195-pound frame. I mean, that's amazing. I think Jalen Knoll's a star. I think Luther Burden's a star. So I would take those guys at the top of round 2, despite the other needs the Niners have. But I could see the Niners going D-line for sure. If you said what's the safe play that addresses all the needs, I would say, the safe play that addresses all the needs would probably have you go Joshua Farmer at 43, Anthony Belton at 75, and Noel Williams at 100, something like that, would probably address the needs. But who's going to be your receiver? Who's going to be your running back if CMC goes down? Your whole season could go up in smoke if you don't get a good running back. And there's some great ones. I mean, you could get some great running backs. So a lot of options on day 2 for sure. A lot of great players sitting there. Do the Niners go D-line, D-tackle, D-end? Do they go linebacker, corner? Do they go offensive line heavy? Do you go wide receiver? Do you go running back? I mean, they got lots of options. I would say I would lean towards Jalen Knoll and Luther Burden. I'd lean towards wide receiver with this pick 43. And then in round 3, give me some defensive tackles. I could go with Omar Norman-Lott and Ty Robinson. And then, if you look at that defensive tackle list, day 3 includes guys like Warren Brinson, Simeon Barrow, Junior Tafuna, Keontae Hamilton, Eric Gregory, Thor Griffith. There's some good players there on day 3 for sure. Ricky Barber, Fatorma Mulba is a good player from West Virginia. There's a bunch of good defensive linemen. Nash Hutmacher on day 3. So day 2 is I would say, this entire draft is about filling needs. But more than anything, I think it's also right here at pick 43, you could get a dynamic offensive player that could wind up being a star. And I wouldn't pass on a Travion Henderson for, Darius Alexander. I mean, Travion Henderson, to me, is a better running back than Darius Alexander is a defensive tackle. So this is an opportunity, I think, at the top of round 2 to get that star receiver or star, running back and really support Brock Purdy that way. Or you could go D-line. They could go heavy D-line, and they may do that because they've referenced that they're going to take a number of defensive linemen. So Mikael Williams gives you some versatility. Why? Because he can play defensive end. He can also go inside and play defensive tackle in some pass rushing situations. So maybe that's the plan. Maybe they want to get a Donovan Ezeraku and rush him off the edge and have just an amazing outside rush. So we'll have to see. But if it was me, I would go Jalen Knoll or Luther Burden in round 2 and probably go big bodies, O-line, D-line in round 3. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles as well. And also thanks to our friends at LearnKey Upskill Academy. The links are in the description below. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.